Mortgage interest rates are pretty worrying at the moment, and I can see that there are a lot of property investors that are not investing, and I can see a lot of landlords really struggling with the increased mortgage payments that these interest rates have brought on. So what do you do? Well, for landlords, first of all, I would say focus not on making loads of profit. Focus on getting through this time. Focus on just trying to break even. And if you can make a bit of profit, then great. But right now, we are in what I would classify for landlords as a challenging time, both financially, because of mortgage interest rates and cost of living, but also with legislation, tenants' rights, and all of the reforms that are probably coming into place over the next couple of years. So I think as a landlord, and I'm a landlord myself, my goal now is to get through this time and to focus on at least breaking even. Now, I'm pretty fortunate my properties are very profitable, but if and when my mortgage interest rates change and increase, and my cost of insurances increase, and my cost of management increases, okay, I've got a bit of a bonus because I own letting agencies around the country, but inevitably, all costs are going to go up. So I've got to focus as a responsible landlord and as an investor, I've got to focus on just making whatever profit I can and not thinking about the 20% per year, the 25% per year or more that I initially wanted to try and achieve. So my advice to any landlord is don't jump into firefighting. Don't jump at a solution because it seems like an easy way out. Calculate it and work out what you can do. How can you get through the next 2 or 3 years and stay afloat? Keep your head above the water. Because remember, you didn't buy that property or invest in that property or become an investor or become a landlord. Whether you consider yourself to be an accidental landlord or you purposely invested, you didn't do it so that you could sell that property in the next couple of years. You did it as a 20-year investment, a 25-year investment. You did it for the long term. So really, when things get difficult in the short term, your mindset has to shift. You have to start thinking, okay, what can I do? I can't control interest rates. I can't control cost of living. What I can control is to ensure that I'm making a little bit of profit just for the time being, that I'm at least keeping my investments, because in 20 years' time, they're going to be worth a hell of a lot more than they were when I bought them, and they're going to be producing cash flow. So try, if you can, to acknowledge that you're a little bit nervous at the moment because there is a lot of uncertainty. We don't know what's going on. We don't know when interest rates are going to settle. We don't know when prices are going to settle and cost of living is going to settle. So our job as investors and landlords, whether you are an accidental landlord or a purposeful landlord, our job is to at least keep hold of our investments. Now, for some of you, it might get to a point where actually you're going to have to lose a little bit of money for a couple of years. So for an example, I was talking to a guy the other day, and one of his properties is going to lose him about 50 quid a month, something like that. But he also knows that that property is going to grow in value. So let's think of it slightly different. I'm not saying you should all go out and lose money. I'm not saying that that's my advice, but my advice is to try and think of things a bit more logically. Now, this guy's going to lose 50 quid a month for a couple of years. So that's what? Let's just say 3 years, that's going to be about 700, 750 quid. That person is going to, no, it's not. It's going to be more than that. It's going to be about 1,800. He wishes it was that much. But it's going to be about 1,800 quid over the next couple of years that he's going to have to invest in his investment. So let's think of it like that. Now, he was going to sell that property and he would have got the equity out, nice. But he's then calculated that, hang on a minute, if I just use that, if I just keep investing 50 quid a month just to keep hold of that property, because I know it's a good one, it's a good property that rents out all the time, tenant is very reliable, very secure, So for the next couple of years, I'm going to lose 50 quid a month, but in 20 years, it's going to be worth a hell of a lot more than it is now. And it's going to be producing some good cash flow. So look, yours might be 20 quid a month. You might be a bit more. And I'm not saying that you should do that. What I mean is try to think of this as an investment. And it might mean, in the same way that if your boiler blows up, you've got to replace your boiler, it might mean that you may have to invest a little bit more over the next couple of years. So certainly for landlords, to summarize that all up, just focus on keeping afloat. Focus on, at minimum, breaking even. If you are looking at your property and you're calculating that you may need to make a small loss over the next couple of years, but you think that's worth it in the long run, then do it. It's just a bit more investment, like fixing your property, like paying for a new tenant to be moved in, compliance. It's just a bit of investment in your investment. And then for property investors, and this is a great one, this, because so many property investors right now are deciding not to buy because they're seeing these interest rates and they're not so, or they're a bit more concerned about what might happen in the future.
I'm interrupting with an important request. Use my lettings team to find your next tenant, to fully manage your property, or both. It doesn't matter whether you've already got a letting agent and you fancy a change, or you just want to find a good tenant. Email me direct. It's tom@soanegroup.co.uk. Or use my property team to find you a good buy-to-let property. Off-market, below market value, high yield buy-to-let properties. Join my buy-to-let VIP list and we'll send those buy-to-let properties straight to your email. Again, contact me direct. It's tom@soanegroup.co.uk, or you can message me through my Facebook page or just comment below and we'll contact you.
They're certainly not looking at property as profitable as it once might have been a short time ago. But actually, try and think of this a little bit differently. If you've got cash sat in the bank and now you're looking at a property investment and you might make 5% return on your investment rather than what you might have made a little while ago, which might have been 15%, well, 5% return on your investment is still better than it is sat in the bank. And what ends up happening is your actual cash is going to sit in the bank and lose value. And you've probably heard that on other videos before. What does that actually mean? What it means is, if you've got £100,000 sitting in the bank today, well, in 1 year's time, the cost of stuff will have gone up. So your £100,000 today will buy you 100,000 loaves of bread, because a loaf of bread today is £1 per loaf. Whereas in a year's time, that loaf of bread might be £1.10, which means you're going to have an extra 10 grand to buy 100,000 loaves of bread, but you haven't added 10,000 in. So you've still only got your 100,000. So now you can only buy, let's say, 90,000 loaves of bread with the same 100,000 pounds that you've got. I might have lost a couple of you there. What I'm trying to say is £100,000 today might buy you 100 loaves of bread for £1 per loaf. Whereas in a year's time, that same £100,000 would only buy you 90,000 loaves of bread. So actually, the value of your £100,000 goes down. The number might not go down. You still look at your bank account and you see £100,000, but the value, the use of that £100,000 has gone down. So it's always, in my opinion, by the way, it's always good to invest your money. Always good. And it doesn't mean, in fact, that you have to invest it in high return on investment strategies. Actually, what's best right now is to just try and make use of your money. So that's why I say 5% return on your investment is better than nothing. You might not be able to get the 15%, the 20%, the 25% anymore, just at the moment. So invest your money for now. Invest it in something that is going to produce a return on investment. And then when the interest rates settle down, when the cost of living settles down, when the price is steady and settle down, then you might be able to actually do something more. Then you might be able to remortgage, refinance, sell and reinvest in order to get the increased return on investment. But the important thing I'm trying to say right now is invest in something. And by the way, if mortgage rates have gone up, your calculation is still the same. You still calculate how much you are prepared to pay for that property in order to achieve your 5% return on investment, or whatever it might be, 10%, whatever. The only thing that changes is your offer amount. Now, it might be that as you're going around looking at properties, you might have to start offering a little bit less, but that's going to be the same for everybody, because even residential purchases where people are buying to live in a property, well, because of mortgage rates, it means that they can't afford to pay as much as they have done in previous times. So therefore, everybody is going to be going around all of these properties and offering slightly less because they can't afford more. Whereas over the last couple of years, we've had this massive boom because interest rates have been so low. Mortgage accessibility has been so high, and therefore people have been able to pay more for properties. And that's why we've seen this big increase, because there's been such huge demand, because there's such great availability and supply. So now we're in the opposite of that. Now, less people are going to be able to pay the higher prices because they are not able to borrow as much because of mortgage stress tests and because of mortgage availability. So therefore, prices should start dropping a little bit. But that's the key word, a little bit. And should. There are some parts of the world or some parts of the country where property prices are probably going to come down 5%, 10%, something like that. But if you're sitting and waiting for prices to drop by 25%, well, it's probably not going to happen unless it's in hugely volatile areas, which you might want to reconsider investing in the first place. So if you are an investor or you want to be a property investor, you're thinking about investing in property, then it's important to continue on your strategy. But remember that rule that you might not make as much profit as you had initially hoped for the next few years. If, by the way, you want to be added to something new that I've created, and this is a buy-to-let property VIP list or something like that, I haven't named it yet. Basically, me and my team, we scour the market for the good buy-to-let properties, the really good buy-to-let properties, and we share them with property investors that are looking for good buy-to-let properties. And this is a VIP list. Not everybody can get on it. I'm only going to allow a certain number of people on that list. But what it means is for those VIPs, they will be able to have access to good local buy-to-let properties, and that will enable them to pick up the good deals from the perspective of a letting agency, by the way, a lettings management agency. And my team and I, we look for properties that we would like to manage. Now, why is that important? Well, if you think about it, a good letting agency will have managed and let hundreds and thousands of properties. So my team have let and managed hundreds and thousands of properties. And that means that we know probably better than anybody which are the good properties that are reliable, easy to let, attract reliable tenants that are going to pay the rent month in, month out, that are the least likely properties to get into arrears, that are the least likely properties to have maintenance issues and repair issues and troubles, and that are the most appealing to the most people. So letting agents, and you don't have to use my letting agency, by the way, you can use any letting agency, but a good letting agent will know these properties, will know which properties are good and which properties to avoid, because they should be looking for properties they want to manage. So if you want to be added to that VIP list, then as always, you've got to contact me. I don't know if you want to be added to it if you don't contact me. So if you don't contact me, you won't be added to it. If you do contact me, then you will be added to it. But I am only taking a certain number because I don't want there to be too many buyers for the properties. So if you want to be added to that list, then you can do one of two things. Number one, the easiest way, you can email me directly. It's tom@pinkstreet.co.uk, and you need to put in the title VIP property list. That's VIP property list. Or if you don't want to do it by email, or you forget by the time you get back home, then you can search Tom Soane and find me on any social media platform and message me through that. And if you do it that way, then send me something that says, I want to be added to the VIP list, and I'll take it from there. You might as well put your own email address or maybe your phone number on there, whichever is better way for us to send you these properties. But then what will happen is every day we will send you the latest strong buy-to-let properties. And these are ones that we work out for good returns on investment, good properties that we like, that we want to manage, that will have high demand, good tenants, demographics, good, reliable, hopefully. Look, it's not an exact science. You just try to pick out the properties that are good candidates. And then we'll link you up with the seller or whoever is representing the seller, and then you can go ahead and check it out for yourself. And by the way, and this is the best part, right now, that's a free service. So take advantage of it. I definitely think that a lot of property investors could use a bit of help from good letting agents that have experience in these things. Okay, so I've rambled on long enough there. So what we've done here, number one, landlords, focus on keeping yourself afloat. Try now to ignore making tons of profit. Don't make any knee-jerk reactions, because your initial investment was for the long term. If you can survive the short term, then you should definitely do that. Just a quick additional tip for landlords. It might be worth, if you've got a portfolio, it might be worth getting my team to do a portfolio analysis so that we can try and see which ones might be worth selling to help the others. Or, by the way, if you want me to link you up with my buy-to-let mortgage advisor, then I will happily do that for free by email. I'll just connect you up. I won't get involved. I'm not going to start talking and investigating mortgage lenders myself for you, but I'll just link you up with my own personal mortgage advisor who specializes in only buy-to-lets. And I also think all property investors and landlords should only work with buy-to-let mortgage specialists. So if you want me to link you up, I certainly will. Yeah, so where was I going with that? I can't remember now. Anyway, so we've done the landlords. Landlords, keep yourself afloat at all costs. Even if you are breaking even, just keep yourself afloat. This was a long-term investment, remember that. Property investors, the only thing that changes is your offer. So calculate what you need to offer in order to just at least make a bit of profit. And try and think long-term. You're not investing in this property to sell it next year. You're investing in it as a 20 to 25-year property investment. So try and think of that rather than, oh, I'm not buying that property because it's not making 20% now. It's going to be really hard to find those 15, 20%, 25% property investments right now. It's going to be very difficult because of mortgage rates. If you're a cash buyer, then, yes, you will always make less yield if you're buying cash, but you know what? You're probably in the best position right now. So, all right, we'll leave it at that. If you need any help, if you need any advice, then book a discovery call with me. It's my opportunity to discover your issues, your challenges, your troubles, and your problems, and your opportunity to discover my opinion, advice, perspective on those problems, and together we'll try and work out a solution. So book a discovery call with me. If you want to do that, contact me and use the title, or in the message just write discovery call. Awesome. Right, see you all later.
Hi, this is Tom Soane, and I hope you found that useful. Now, my next video is right there, or you can subscribe and follow for more videos.